So what makes our PUL in-floor system so different? Really, it's our valve. It's the heart of our system. So let's talk about some of the unique features in our 8-port valve. Firstly, we have 8 ports, so that's more zones than any other valve in the market today. They're 2-inch and they're set up so we can do fittings side by side. A lot of the valves in the market you can't do that. You have to stagger fittings, so we want to make it very friendly for the plumber. So 8 zones. We have an inlet that's 2-inch on the ID and 2.5-inch on the OD. So on longer runs, we like to see that line size upsize for keep that pressure drop very low, and we've accommodated that by having 2 pipe sizes on the inlet. The valve got 3 major components to it. We've got the valve body, we have the valve cartridge, which just drops right into our valve, and then we have our electronics cartridge, which you'll see right here inside of the valve. So those are the 3 major components. If anything ever goes wrong with the valve, you're simply dropping in a new cartridge, and it's very easy and simple to work on. But what makes this valve so unique and so different? So in the industry today, virtually every valve that operates an in-floor system is some kind of a gear-driven valve. This valve operates entirely different. The technology really exists inside of this cartridge, and I'll kind of explain to you how it works. Water flows in, and you'll just see this arm. What it does is it kind of pulls back, and you heard a click. And what that click does is basically cocking or loading the valve. So when water flows to the cartridge, it pushes that arm back. When water stops to the valve, it moves forward. And what you heard there is you will see that every time I move that arm, it's changing position from one port to the next. So what's really unique about that is we do not change positions under water flow. And what's uniquely different about the PUL in-floor system in general is we are starting and stopping water to the 8-port valve. And we're doing that with our Connect controller. So we don't stop the water, we don't turn it off, we simply divert it back to the system momentarily, allowing this valve to change positions without having system pressure on it, which reduces wear, makes it very simple for the valve to operate. So by doing that, we can introduce water to our cartridge, and we can do it for whatever duration of time we want. So that now gives us programmability on the duration of how long a nozzle stays up. But there's another unique thing about our cartridge. You'll see this little window right here, and you'll see when it opens, there's a little arm that goes by that opening. If I put something in the way of that opening, the water arm cannot move back, and it stays in the same position. So now as I start and stop water to the valve, it's staying in the same zone and running the water multiple times to the same zone. I'm actually running the heads up and down, and I'm now given the ability to thoroughly clean that zone before I leave that zone. So I can program the system to operate as many times as I want, up and down for as long as I want. And with that, it unlocks a whole new way of cleaning a pool and how an in-floor system can work. So now we can program each zone to operate differently from the next. We can program the total duration that the zone runs while the heads are up, and we can program how many cycles it goes within that zone. So where every other in-floor system in the market today, it goes from one zone to the next, and you get one shot. And because it operates off a gear-driven valve cartridge, it only operates for a given amount of time, 40 seconds or so. But our system is fully and infinitely programmable of how long we can operate it in any given zone. When we designed the 8-port valve, we designed it with service in mind. Both the water cartridge, they lift right out, so if you need to replace it, you drop it in, you spin it, it indexes right into position, and that's all there is to replacing it. The other component to the 8-port valve is our electronics cartridge, and it's the same concept. We have 4 screws. You take the 4 screws out, all of it comes out, and you plug a new one in. You don't have to get involved with any of the electronics inside of it. You'd have a full replacement cartridge to install right into the valve. With those 2 things, you've replaced everything associated with the 8-port valve and can completely service its installation. So with the features built into the valve, the 8 ports, the electronics, the easily serviceable components, and the extremely low pressure drop, it makes the PUL valve the most advanced valve in the market.